On today's episode of The Unseen World, we highlight European traditions celebrated in America with the Swiss Fasnacht Festival in Helvetia, West Virginia, and the longest-running Oktoberfest in the world, nestled in the mountains of northern Georgia.
In Helvetia, we have celebrated Fasnacht since the settlers came from Switzerland. They brought the Catholic families brought the tradition with them, but it was celebrated slightly differently in that the families would invite people over to their homes. They would make the fatty foods and desserts. They'd play music and have a grand time. Over time, it has transformed into an event we celebrate with the public and outside of the community. So that we welcome people who with non-religious backgrounds or religious, but also from outside of this Swiss-German community.
After the end of the Civil War, a group of Swiss and German-speaking immigrants formed in Brooklyn, New York. They called themselves Grotlivren. The members agreed that they would all emigrate to another section of the country together. One member surveyed the eastern West Virginia mountains and reported back on the richness of the country. They arrived in Clarksburg, West Virginia, and began the difficult trek by foot over the mountains. It took them 4 months to reach the plot of land that was for sale. 5
of the families visited, and then they brought their extended family back in October of 1869. And from there, I think more people got interested, and I think the community grew from, very small to roughly 300 to 400, and it has reduced significantly since then.
1 year after settling, only 32 people lived in the Helvetia. By 1874, the community had grown to 308. Many of those direct descendants remain, but today, only about 60 people make up the town population.
Right now, we're sitting inside the historic museum. This building was one of the original settlers' cabins, and it was moved from on top of the hillside down to the community so that we could use it as a museum. It houses many of the old artifacts and antiques from the original settlers that came in 1869, and there's always the story of the first families that moved here from Switzerland. They didn't have a lot of money, and they came to try something new, but they all had to sleep in one cabin the first winter. And it was 5 families of roughly 2 to 3 people each. So as you can imagine, it was a tight fit.
The Helvetia Village Historic District was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1978. Today, the village is known for maintaining Swiss traditions, festivals, food, and folkways. Stay tuned. The Unseen World will return. Now, back to the Unseen World. One of the many traditions this small Swiss town has held on to is the celebration of Fasnacht. The tradition has varying oral origins as an old Germanic sacrifice practice, a time to let loose before the penitential period of Lent, a festival to drive away demons, and a celebration marking the end of winter.
Fasnacht is German or Swiss German for fasting night. And it is similar to Mardi Gras or Carnival or some of the other traditions that you see coming right before Lent. So it is a Christian tradition and based in Catholicism.
My mother told me that years ago they actually went from house to house, and everybody was a musician. There were 2 different bands in Helvetia, and on the onset there was one down here, the Star Band, and then there was another band up on the hill. And so everybody played something, and so they went from house to house, and they had a glass of wine, and they had a Hoseblatt or a rosette. And both of those are, you use the fat before Lent, because after Lent you didn't use the fat anymore after Lent. So it was a religious holiday. But they had a glass of wine, and they went from house to house, and they partied. The rosette is, they brought their rosette irons from Switzerland. It's looks like a little flower. You dip it in the batter, dip it in the fat, and then you turn it over and sprinkle it with sugar. And the same with the Hoseblatts. They had special aprons that they put on, and they would roll out the dough on their knee and throw it in the fat and put a little sugar on it, and that's what was a Hoseblatts. And that's how they celebrated early on. They just went from house to house carrying fiddles and harmonicas and guitars and mandolins.
It's kind of converted into a winter festival or a celebration for the coming of spring, and that's why we combined it with burning of Old Man Winter at the end of our event to welcome spring that should arrive in the next few weeks.
Every Old Man Winter effigy is unique to a community. If you look at some of the things that take place in many of the European countries, and even within the states of those countries, they have their own particular type of character that they create and burn. And so ours is probably oriented more towards, like this year, more towards traditional old human character. It kind of changes every year. We don't have a particular structure. We kind of do something that has a theme that we use.
So we burn Old Man Winter as a part of what we think may be rooted in Winterfest. It's in German, or Swiss German, I can't say the word, but it's a Winterfest wherein you would burn an effigy of a person that's Old Man Winter in order to encourage spring to come. So it's slightly more pagan maybe, but we don't see it that way per se. We're not abiding by any faith, but we see it as a means to be like, some of us are sick of all the snow, and this is a way to be like, I'm kind of ready for spring. But sadly, it backfires almost every time, and we have at least 2 or 3 more weeks of cold, harsh weather.
In tradition, the idea is to take the old and destroy it. We're just trying to get rid of the old and in with the new. You know.
We're celebrating Fasnacht a little differently than we normally would, and that's due to COVID, but we are prepared for 2023 to return to normal. Today, what we will be doing is at 3 p.m., we'll start listening to our very own Helvetia Star Band as they play waltzes and schottisches and old tunes from Helvetia. And we'll eat fatty foods. We'll be eating donuts, homemade, rosettes, which are a fried dough that is shaped like a flower, and Hoseblatts, which are a thinly rolled out dough that looks like a pants patch because you roll it out on your knee traditionally. And all of these are deep fried and then a little bit of powdered sugar on top, so it's like, funnel cake. And then hot chocolates and coffee and keeping warm as we can by the bonfire. And then by 6 p.m. we'll have a masquerade where 25 masks will be selected as winners, and they'll receive a handmade little flag, a Swiss flag. At 6:30 we'll cut down Old Man Winter and parade down the street, hooting and hollering to say goodbye to winter and welcome spring, and burn the effigy on the bonfire, at which point the festivities will dwindle and we'll go home and sleep well and hope for spring.
Stay tuned. The unseen world will return. Now, back to the unseen world. To celebrate Fasnacht, attendees are encouraged to create their own unique masks. Traditionally carved from wood, these masks were used to poke fun at local authorities or popular village personalities. Today, the meaning has changed slightly.
In Switzerland, they wear masks to hide their identity so that they can be really wild and free for a day.
The masks that people create to bring into the event help people to create a face that separates themselves from their daily lives. In other words, my name is Doug Davis, and if I just walk around like this, then everybody knows me, and I'm going to be me. But if I have a mask on, I could be a different character. And I could have a different, and people act differently when they have a mask on, and they'll dance and they'll sing, and it just allows people to celebrate their spirit more than they would if they're just tied into being their normal selves.
And I think it is a means to, like, again, right before you're going to deprive yourself of many goods or many treats or whatever, alcohol or whatever, you are free to do what you want and no one knows what you're doing. So the mask hides your identity. But the interesting thing that even a lot of local mask makers reveal is that the mask is, even though it hides something, it really reveals a lot about you because they're handmade. They're usually reflective of something you've experienced in the past year. They can be political, they can be personal, they can be anything you want. I wouldn't be surprised if this year we'll see some COVID-related masks. Maybe we'll see some political figures like President Trump or President Biden. It's pretty fascinating what people come up with. The masks are meant to be a way to, like, show your artistry, but also let yourself be a little mysterious for a day.
Yeah, it is unique because we've been able to preserve and repurpose from the past, which makes it interesting for people. The world I saw being out there in the world, it was such a tear-down world, you know. Bulldoze it, make them all. Bulldoze it, make them all. So that's what I saw coming through life in the 80s and 90s. They just wanted to just build more malls or build more strip malls, and and I was like, oh my God, and I would always think about that. Well, that'd be like taking away all Helvetia.
I have twin daughters, and I think the most rewarding thing about living here is I'm able to feel like a whole community is behind me. Like, I don't feel alone, even though it's very small. It's maybe 50 to 100 people. I feel as though I'm supported in my work, in my creativity.
It's just so freeing to live here. You can be exactly who you are. People accept you, and we all know each other so well. There's no pretense. Everybody is exactly who they are, and you don't have, we take each other with a grain of salt. If somebody's in a bad mood, well, they're just in a bad mood, nobody cares. But we work well together, and it is a small community with a lot of people that are very talented and work together.
There's an ingrained support system, and that, when I lived in a city, I lived in Chicago, I didn't feel that. I felt a little more lost and isolated because you're mixed in with so many people, and you weren't important to that community because somebody else would do it, and here, nobody else will do it. You have to step up, and that's empowering.
If you would like to visit Helvetia, West Virginia for Fasnacht or other events such as the Helvetia Ramp Supper, Follow Your Bliss Music Festival, Swiss National Holiday, the Helvetia Community Fair, and monthly square dancing, please visit helvetiawv.com to plan your trip. When the Unseen World returns, we'll spotlight another American city honoring European traditions. Now, back to the Unseen World.
If you're going to come to Oktoberfest, you need to hear some German music and have a German beer.
It's lighthearted and happy. It's just a happy atmosphere, fun and family. And it's hard to have a bad time with that kind of atmosphere going on.
Nestled in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Helen, Georgia is a Bavarian wonderland, honoring German traditions in the most unlikely of places.
I'm Renee Green. I'm the Executive Director of the Helen Chamber of Commerce, which operates the Fest Hall. We're not a community that's just putting up a tent and we're going to have Oktoberfest because it's October. Our town is Bavarian. It has been for over 50 years, so it looks Bavarian, it feels like Bavaria. You don't need a passport or a very expensive ticket to get here.
With its fairy tale facade of Bavarian beauty and its bustling tourist community, it's hard to believe Helen, Georgia hasn't always been this way.
Years ago, when it was a dying lumber village, some gentlemen had been stationed in Bavaria, and one was an artist. They sat down and tried to figure out how they could revitalize Helen. And when they were trying to figure out how they could revive their dying community, that was one of the ideas. He just drew some pictures and they came up with some drawings and started changing the existing buildings that we had. Everybody stuck together and made it look Bavarian. So we're unique. We're not like any other mountain town. And if we stay Bavarian, we'll always be different. And it worked. And it's still working. Put us a top 3rd spot in the state of Georgia. That's pretty big. I mean, there's only 400 and some people here within the city limits. And we're number 3 in the entire state.
Along with its Bavarian exteriors, Helen also celebrates Germany with the longest-running Oktoberfest in the world.
So, a lot of people that come here actually don't know that the event itself, Oktoberfest, the celebration, which was a marriage celebration, is in September, which is why we start in September. Ours is the longest in the world, traditionally 8 weeks. For us here at the Fest Hall, it's a traditional German event. It's always German bands, German music, German food, German dancing, German beer, pretzels, brats, very traditional. We actually have had German citizens here that still live in Germany and will come to us and say that they can't even get traditional Oktoberfest at home anymore. And you can't pay for that kind of advertising. So that's very much a compliment for us running the event, the Fest Hall, what it looks like on the inside, and compliments to the bands because they're providing traditional German music. We always have German bands, so 8 weeks worth. 2 different German bands every single week.
With the longest-running Oktoberfest, authentic music, and authentic foods, Helen also celebrates German folk art with one-of-a-kind murals you'll spot along the city's walls from a local German artist.
His name is Joseph Mahler. He is actually German, and he lives right here in Sauty. He has done a lot of the hand-painted murals. He paints them by hand. He mixes his colors by hand. So we're very fortunate to have him. He does all of our artwork here at the Fest Hall.
If beer and polka music aren't your thing, Helen is also packed full of unique shops and boutiques you won't find anywhere else. With an active community and family-oriented fun, it makes the perfect getaway for couples or the whole clan.
You just need to jump in your car and come on. It looks Bavarian. It makes you feel like you're in Bavaria. We're in the mountains, so you get the beauty of the mountains. You can go up to the top of the mountain and see the beauty of everything, and you can come down here and go to the waterfall at Anarubi Falls at Unicoi State Park and grab a beer and have a pretzel. That says it all.
Now, back to the unseen world. If you would like to visit the Bavarian beauty of Helen, Georgia, just visit helenga.org for more information. And we'll see you at Oktoberfest. Have you explored a location featured on today's episode of The Unseen World? Then share your stories with us and join the conversation at #SeeUnseenWorld on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And if you know of a hidden gem, roadside attraction, or any other interesting location you think deserves to be uncovered, visit SeeUnseenWorld.com to make a suggestion to our producers.
good.